knows how it's going to go? Maybe I won't. Paul, if you come over and start punching me, I know I've gone too far. So I'm going to refer to Paul and Hayley now as PH. Okay? PH. And the reason I'm going to refer to them as PH, because I don't know if any of you know that there's known as a PH scale. Yeah? Where PH 7 is known as neutral or maybe normal. But in the PH scale I'm talking about, there is no normal. In this PH scale, P, well, he would be 14, wouldn't he? He'd be right at the end there. He'd be like an alkaline. He'd be very chilled and relaxed. In fact, he'd be far out, man. I'm not referring to your past, but maybe I am. And H, well, she'd be the other end of the scale, wouldn't she? She'd be 1. Yeah? She would be red, fiery, and sometimes a bit acidic, depending on how many glasses of wine she's got. However, we didn't know, Tanya and I didn't know Paul and Hayley before they got married. So I've had to do a little bit of research, go back into their history, find out how it all happened, how they got married, how they met. A lot of my research did involve drinking, so it's a little bit fuzzy. And even last night I was speaking to Paul and Hayley about a few things, so I'm just going to try and recollect it. That's why I've made a note here on my phone. So, I believe that Paul and Hayley met in Tame High Street, but contrary to belief, it wasn't at the kebab van. The very famous kebab van, the award-winning kebab van, no. Paul was walking down the high street, and he spotted somebody that he knew from the past, because he was a bit of a raver then, and he said, he met Tiny then. He met Hayley through a mutual friend who he referred to as a gobby cow. Not Hayley, the friend of Hayley. And so he got chatting to this gobby cow who was bending his ear, and he saw Hayley and he thought, I like her. I really like her. I might ask her out. But you remember, back in the day then, Paul was a bit of a raver, he was in the rave scene. They didn't have apps for dating and things like that. And if they did have an app back then, it would have been ravers.com, wouldn't it? However, I advise you now, after my research, please do not Google ravers.com. So, Paul asked Hayley out for a date. However, Paul stood her down. He stood her up. He never turned up for the date. Oh,
what a wanker.
What did you bottle it? Or was it just too far out, man?
I hope he redeems himself in this speech.
But Hayley, working in a local barber shop in Princess Risboro at the time.
Hope she cut his hair
and
bad.
The positive thing about working at barbers in Princess Risboro, and Hayley, she knew most people and knew when they were going on holiday. Because that's the sort of thing she asked, isn't it? Come on, where are you going? Yeah. Paul tracked her down, and then he actually convinced Hayley, because Hayley don't take rejection very well, do you, Hayley? No, didn't like that.
No.
Paul convinced Hayley to go out on a date, and they went to a cinema, popular venue at Handycross in High Wycombe. And when I asked them what film they watched, they had no clue what it was. But what they did say was, there was a nightclub next door. And that's all they remember, the bright lights of the club. So after the darkness of the cinema, they went into the club, had a good time, and they then decided that the relationship was going to make a go of it, weren't you? For 12 years. 12 years together, living in sin, enjoying themselves. It brings a whole new meaning to the word try before you buy, Paul, to be honest with you. But in the end, Paul decided he was going to buy it. But throughout their 12 years living together, they went travelling, they enjoyed a night out or three, lots of raves, a lot of parties. But Paul decided, and there were lots of incidents, but we'll come back to that later, because every time they go out there's an incident. Paul decided that he was going to propose to Hayley whilst on a safari holiday in Kenya. And Paul thought, right, I need to find a quiet moment, gonna do the deed, I'm gonna propose to her, but I need to plan it properly. So, I've got two plans, plan A and plan B. He started off telling me about plan B. The plan B was, he'd worked out if he got on a light aircraft with her and flew across Mount Kilimanjaro in the background, through the window, that would be the moment he would get down on his knees and propose to Hayley. This is plan B. I'm so glad plan A worked, because knowing how excited those two get, being on a plane above the Serengeti really wasn't the right place to be. So, Paul decided that plan A was, we're going to go out, we're going to go on one of those drives into the game, but he said, I don't do early. I don't do the early game, I'm going to do it a bit late. And that resonated with me, because Paul don't like earlies. Paul loves a night out, Paul gets chilled. However, you wake him up early, he's not a happy man. And I can vouch for that, because not long ago, a cyclist decided that he was going to park outside their house at 5 o'clock in the morning and get his bike out. And whilst he was getting his bike off his car, he was a little bit noisy, to the extent that when he came back from his cycle, he found a note on the windscreen of his car. And the note started, "Dear Mr. Noisy Cyclist." Paul don't like being wake up in the morning. I won't go through the rest, but how?
He won't park there again.
No, he won't. So, Paul's on this safari with Hayley, but at the same time, being very sociable people, they met a couple from Watford.
Yes.
Yeah, got on really well with them.
Very lovely.
But then they realised, Paul said, they were just hanging around me like a bad smell. They were there all the time. Couldn't get rid of them. How am I going to get this private moment with Hayley and propose to her? He said, I know. We're going to walk down to the Masai Mara, what's it called? The Masai Mara River. Masai Mara River. I'm going to walk down to there. I'm going to get the moment. I said, why was nobody else by the river? He said, well, that's where the crocodiles go. And they lay there with their mouths wide open. So, well, okay, mate, fair play. You did it. You found the quiet moment. But the people from Watford saw what was going on. They could see in the distance somebody getting on their knees. Luckily, it was Paul. If Hayley got on her knees, they would have thought, hello, something's going on. Paul dropped on his knees.
Sorry,
He proposed,
Jacob, sorry.
and luckily, Hayley said yes. So well done to Paul and Hayley, and certainly you, Hayley, for saying yes. Right, so Paul, I'm going to ask you if I can say it or whether you would like to say it. What did you say to Hayley to make her marry you?
Keep it clean.
Well, that was very clean actually. I said, I love the woman, I love the girl I met, and I love the woman she turned out to be. Will you marry me?
Isn't that nice? I love the girl I met, and I love the woman she's turned out to be. Will you marry me? I'd have married you if you'd have said that to me, mate.
Tanya, be careful.
So, on the 19th of July 2003, they got married, and a year later,
2004.
Jacob came along. He didn't hang around, did he? That was one hell of a honeymoon. But I remember Paul, I believe, Paul, you had very long locks of hair back then before you met Hayley, and I'm still amazed you've still got a good head of hair now. And looking at the photograph of your wedding back then, you haven't really changed a bit, have you? Is it because you're worth it, or is it just natural? Well done. And Hayley, you're still as radiant as you were then. You look beautiful. Not a lot has changed in those 20 years, has it? But since then, they've got together. They've lived in and around Wendover, the place that they call home. Many friends and family. Hayley worked at the children's room where both Jacob and Hope went, our daughter Hope. Both have grown up together to be beautiful adults. And I just want to pause now and just to say congratulations to Jacob, who has been offered an apprenticeship for Transport for London. Seeing off over 600 applicants to get one or two jobs. Jacob, put your hand out, hang on, I've got my ticket somewhere. Hang on. Contactless, thank you. Bloody all right, mate. You are going to be one of the top directors, and just remember me when you get that to that, because I am too old to jump over the barriers now, so I need a free ticket, alright?
75% off.
They've also got a new addition to the family, Otis, or is it Tank, or is it some other name? Otis, beautiful, well behaved today until he saw you both, and then he got very excited. Paul gave him a little rub, Hayley just ignored him. But PH, they love parties, they love pubs, they love days out, and there's always a few glasses of beer and wine involved, isn't there? Yes. Which sometimes leads to a bit of an incident.
Sometimes.
But how do you gauge how P and H are during their socialising on a night out? Yeah, you have to use the pH scale. Yeah. So P, he will just mellow. He'll smile a lot. He'll smile and get bigger. It'll be probably, a little bit wavy, and he'll just want to kiss you and cuddle you. That's P. Whereas H, she's the other end of the scale, and you can tell how drunk H is on how she pronounces Paul. 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 P-A-U-W, Paul. However, I'm sure many of you have got plenty of stories and experiences of great memories, and I'll just share a couple that we have had with Paul and Hayley. We once went to a concert in London at Alexandra Palace, but we couldn't go for the evening. No. We had to go at 10 o'clock in the morning. We had to go to Islington, and we had to visit every pub in Islington because they were open. And then we had to find our way to Alexandra Palace, up the hill, to see Faithless. Do you remember that? Absolutely buzzing.
Oh my God.
Came out, and they went, well, how are we going to get home? Well, it's only Wendover, isn't it? No, we have public transport, yeah. Nobody cared. Paul, how are we getting home? Then there was the time when, me and Tiny don't really go to festivals, but Paul and Hayley like a festival, but they as they've got older, the festival scene really isn't go to a festival, stay in a tent, go to another gig. They go, we're going to go to on the Saturday, and then we're going to come back, get changed, stay at home, go back the next day. What do you reckon? Still too much for me. So we decided to do Glastonbury in Butler's Cross. However, it was a hot day, the beers flowed, the doors opened, the vibes were going, the music was going, and then there was a knock at the door. And the local police turned up and said, excuse me, could you please keep the noise down? We've had some complaints, of which we turned the volume down, the police disappeared, and then Hayley went into the middle of the road and started to swear at every single house. You bastards! I'm just having a laugh! It gets worse, Hayley, it really gets worse.
Wait, don't forget, I gave the policeman a kiss.
Well, yeah, he was grateful for that. And then there was a time when, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been on holiday with Hayley and Paul. They do like to go on holiday with a lot of their friends. Yeah. Only once normally. We went on holiday to Ibiza. We didn't go with them, but we knew they were there. And we hooked up, and then we spent the whole week with them. We had such a laugh. However, there was a couple of incidents within that holiday that need to be brought to attention here, really. Tanya explained to me that it's the only time, Tanya and Hayley were on the beach, and Jacob, myself, Paul and Hope took a pedalo out. Lovely bay, pedalo, that's great, with a slide, yeah, that's great. And Tanya said that it's the only time she's seen a whole beach of 400 people gasp at the same time. As the pedalo capsized, I was climbing up the ladder. Paul was on the wrong side of the ladder, and as it peeled over, it capsized. Paul flew off, Jacob flew off, Hope flew off, and then Paul went, "Ah, I've been stung. Ah, I've been stung again." And then Jacob swam quicker than Adam Peaty to the shore, got off, ran up the beach, saw Tanya and Hayley, and then just sat with a towel over himself in a little tent. And they went, "What's that? What's that?" They went, "I can't tell you. I can't tell you." Paul then swam back in and left me and Hope with this capsized pedalo with a slide underneath, laughing, going, "How are we going to get this in?" So we started pushing it towards the shore, and then the slide ground into the sand, at which the owner of the business came out and started swearing at us in Spanish. We sloped off, walked up to where Hayley and Tanya were to see Jacob cowering in his little tent, and then Paul laying there with two white patches of lint on his chest going, "I've been stung by jellyfish." Oh. I said, "What's all that?" He said, "I had to go to the medical tent. They put ammonia on me." And I went, "Do you know what? I thought I could smell piss." We spent the last 3 hours going, "Oh, it really hurts." Oh, we had such fun that week. I'll just get myself Right, so I'm just going to finish off now. So let's think about this. So we've had some fun, yeah. One thing I will say is, to Paul and Hayley, to PH, friends are important. They had their wedding, part 1, 20 years ago, and some of the guests are here today for part 2. Chris was the best man first time round. Was he that bad that you didn't ask him to do it this time round? Put him outside, handing out leaflets. I thought it was a big issue. All right. But it's love. It's love.
Listen to him.
It's love.
Horrible man. Stranger danger.
But it's lovely that you've invited everyone here today, and we really do appreciate. We appreciate your love, your affection, your fantastic personalities. That's why we're all here, having a laugh. It's delayed a bit, which means I've had to drink more, so I'm a little bit more jolly. But I do think we should raise a glass, and I believe. Has everybody got glasses? Yeah. Right, so
You're going to raise the glass.
I think PH, yeah, they love music, they love life, and we love them. So let's raise a glass to PH and wish them love and life to Paul and Hayley. So just to finish off, I'm nearly done.
Kick me.
I've used technology and artificial intelligence to find a song that relates to you, your relationship, your friendship, everything, and I couldn't believe what it came up with. And I'm just going to read you a few lines to that song. So here we go. Aga, do, push pineapple, shake the tree. I go, no, I'm only joking. I took out a few things and I came up, and this is what it came out with. Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands in the air. I know, I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care. But you've got the love I need to see me through.
Sometimes it feels as though it's just too rough. Everything's wrong no matter what I do. Sometimes it feels like life is just too rough. You got the